Hello, everyone. I'm just going to give everyone a minute or so to jump on. But welcome to Social Pillars for Salon Success with Olivia Thompson and Cynthia Baker. So glad everyone could join. We'll go ahead and just give it a few more seconds. Before we get started, I do have a few housekeeping items. We can go ahead and show that slide. So during the presentation, make sure to use the chat feature to ask Olivia and Cynthia any questions you have. They are here. This is a pre-recorded session, but they are in the chat. So they are excited to answer all of your questions throughout the presentation. And just make sure that when you do ask a question, make sure the blue button in your chat says everyone so that everyone in the class can see your question. We can go ahead and try that now. Everyone send a message in the chat and tell us where you're tuning in from. And then Olivia and Cynthia, you guys can go ahead and pop on and say hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
We got Michigan, Wisconsin, California, North Carolina. Wow, New Zealand, Illinois, New York.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, so if you have any questions during the presentation, they will be here. They're in the chat the whole time answering your questions. And then there will be a 15-minute Q&A after the presentation. They'll pop back on and they'll answer any questions live. So you can raise your hand or you can continue using the chat during that portion. So I think we can go ahead and get started.
I'm Olivia Smalley at OMG Artistry. I'm a celebrity hairstylist. I also am a video content creator. So back in the day, I actually have always worked in salons my entire life. My mom was actually my first mentor ever. She taught me what it was like to work really hard and to get really good tips. So that was a big thing for me, learning how to make an extra dollar when I was very young. But going into high school, I actually learned about photography and videography, and I just had this like huge passion behind the creative nature of what it is to capture a moment, to capture a picture, to capture a video. So much so that I actually ended up going to college for it. And at the end of the day, I actually hated it. I hated it. I went to college, I spent so much money on it, and it ended up not being fun anymore. I just thought I had to do what I was supposed to do and maybe like do weddings, right? That was like the notion back in the day. That was the only opportunities. We don't have the opportunities that we have right now. So I came home and I said to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, just spent a lot of money. You just spent a lot of money, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Now, what I didn't mention was my mom actually asked me to come home. And the reason why she asked me to come home is because she had lost her job. And this was during 2007 when we had the biggest market crash of our entire lives. And it was a very big moment for me because I had always worked since I was 13 years old, and my mom sent me away to college, and I really wasn't working, so I didn't feel like I was really contributing anything. And now all of a sudden, I don't want to go to college. I'm in debt, like low. I said, Mom, what am I going to do? She goes, why don't you go to cosmetology school? And I'm like, that is such a great idea. So I'm super excited. I walk into cosmetology school, and I'm like, what can I do to sign up? Right? They give me the pricing, they give me, what it entails, how long it is. I'm like, oh, well, I don't have that money. I'm gonna sign up for financial aid, right? Sign up for financial aid. On paper, my parents made too much money the year before, but my mom didn't have that job anymore, right? And I was already in debt. So for 6 weeks and 6 days, I begged this school, Sheridan Vocational in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to, if I would have worked there, if I would have been helping or coaching, or whatever the situation was, I just wanted to be involved. And on that 6th day, they actually gave me a grant. And that's why I teach. Because somebody believed in me. Somebody gave me the gift of a trade that has taken me so far. Moving forward, Facebook comes out, Instagram comes out, and I finally realized, I'm like, wow, like I can take what I learned and what I'm doing now and then combine them into one. I started creating content. I started creating videos, which I didn't even know what I was really doing at the time. I was just sharing my hacks, my videos in the bathtub of my house with my parents, right? And they loved it. They saw me growing, they saw me transforming, right? A lot of the things that I'm gonna teach you guys in this class today has contributed from 21-year-old Olivia to 33-year-old Olivia now, and kind of how I did it and how I kind of navigated it. Social media is very important to me. I actually went to a class in New York City that I spent thousands of dollars going to learn social media, right? Come home to say, they're not teaching this. What are the secrets? Like, tell me everything from A to Z and be specific. I was like sitting on the dryer at the salon at the time. And I said, they're not teaching this. And then I started to teach. Fast forward, Cynthia and I actually met through Joico, and we started to talk. Cynthia will give you her whole story, but my side of it is Cynthia and I have been a partnership for so long. And she's my strategist, she's my girl, you wouldn't believe this type of moment. And we've created a relationship, and we've also created a curriculum together, which we'll be teaching you guys today. Marlo Beauty, thank you so much for having us here, because this is such an opportunity. This is actually the first time we will be teaching this class. This will be our pillars for everything moving forward in social media. It's very thought out, it's very well planned, and I'm excited for you guys to enjoy it, okay? I want to introduce Cynthia Baker, Saga House.
Hey, Olivia. Well, I want to share with you my journey, and it starts almost 30 years ago. I was doing the math in the corner. I'm like, no, that can't be right. I'm still 25. I don't understand. And it starts when I was 15 years old. As my mother, as a hairdresser, she was a booth renter. And I remember seeing her come home from a day's work and sitting at the kitchen table and counting all her cash. And I thought, wow, mom's rich. Like, I want to be rich too, right? And that's when I made the decision to go to beauty school during high school, and I was 15 years old. Because I wanted to be like an FBI agent or Beyonce, either one. You didn't know Beyonce then, but that was my goal. And I thought, well, if I can have a good job, have my own hours, make cash like mom, then I can, go to college and have a good living. And that was the goal. But when I got into beauty school, what I didn't realize was the transformation that I would make for people. And to me, it was just like, oh, hair's cool. But then they, when you transform someone and how amazing they look. And so I actually graduated from beauty school before high school. And so right off the bat, I was a booth renter, and I worked behind the chair. I also then started teaching hair color and finish work for a company called Matrix back in the day. And that really gave me my foundation on being the expert in speaking and color and finish work. And from there, I thought, I'm going to open my own salon, right? Is that the next cool thing? So I opened a salon, and I was 21 years old. And it opened my eyes to the corporate side of our industry, because I never ever thought or understood that you can go corporate as a beauty professional. And during that journey, I met a little company at the time called Pureology, and they hired me as a manager, and that's where the corporate journey started. So being from behind the chair, in the salon, in the field working with salons throughout Southern California and the West Coast. Then I decided, okay, like, what's next in my life? What am I going to do? And I started working for bigger brands, and started working for a company called Joico, just who happens to be our client now, as a social media agency. And during that time, I branched out, and just so we can let you guys know, every time someone told me I was crazy was the best business decision I've ever made, okay? So I decided to work for a distribution company in California and run a sales team. And then I was VP of Sales and Marketing, and always in our professional beauty space and feeling like the expert in that space. Then one day, okay, how many of you watched the Kardashians before? So guilty, I love that. So one day I was sitting on the couch watching the Kardashians. My husband was next to me, not really happy that it was on. And I thought, what's next in my career? What do I want to do next? And I turned to him and I said, I'm going to work for the Kardashians. And he's like, that's dumb. That's not cool. I'm like, he doesn't know cool, right? So right away, I started Google schmoogling and wanted to find what brands they worked with. and I found a brand called Bellamy Hair. Familiar with them? And they were looking for a warehouse manager position. And I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna send my resume and hopefully somebody will see it. So 2 days later, because I applied for the warehouse manager position, right? I get a phone call and they say, hey, we're actually looking for a VP of sales and marketing. And I got the job. And I started working with Kylie Jenner and a bunch of different celebrities on social media and marketing. And that experience was the aha for me for social media, because I would see Kylie post Lily lashes. And at that time, Bellamy used to distribute Lily lashes and ship it out. And we would sell out of every single SKU possible, right? And I thought, whoa, does the professional beauty industry know about social media? Because this is highly impactful. And during that time, I thought, you know what? Crazy idea, number 52. I'm gonna start my own agency and teach businesses how to do social media and get what we call an ROI, a return on their investment. But what I quickly realized was my passion lied within the hairdresser. I was teaching at a class in Denver, and it was all finished, and I was so excited, yay, class is done, right? And this lady comes up to me in tears, she's just crying. And I'm like, oh gosh, what's wrong, what went wrong? And she said, thank you, because now I finally have someone show me what to do. I was so uncomfortable because all the younger kids in this salon are socially savvy, but I have no idea, and I'm the main color expert. And I'm like, oh my goodness, she's so right. And just like Olivia, I would sit at the hair shows and watch a panel of amazing influencers speak about themselves, and they would say, oh yeah, just send a DM. And then I remember somebody raising their hand and saying, what's a DM? They didn't know. Nobody was teaching the step-by-steps. And that is what Olivia and I are really good at. We're really good at breaking everything down for you on how to do social media, to how to build your business. Now, I wish if it was my way, we'd spend 3 days together, so I can just give it all to you. But in this segment, we're gonna break down 8 pillars, and it's called Be Social. And with that, I'm gonna pass it back to Olivia.
So why social media? Everybody in here has a phone, right? Think about it like this. The reason why social media is because no one's bringing in magazines anymore. They're bringing in their cell phones. Wouldn't it be so nice if it was your picture that they were bringing in? I call social media like penny stocks, right? The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. The more time you invest into it, the more money you invest to it, the more you'll get out of it. Think about all of our efforts and priorities of what we're doing digitally on social media. I always say that every single time that you post online, it is your digital footprint from the beginning until you reach your goals. And then what are your goals beyond that? People say to me, Olivia, I have enough clients. I'm busy. I'm so busy. My number one thing people say to me is, why social media? And you know what I tell them? I go, sure, you're busy now, but what's gonna happen? How do we get clients, right? We get clients online and we get clients offline, okay? So offline, walk-ins, referrals, all that, amazing. Referrals, what's the first thing you're gonna say? What's her social media page, right? So it ends up being that, for now, you're great. But then all of a sudden, you're not investing in your penny stocks. You're not investing, you're not moving forward, you're not creating that content. So all of a sudden, your loop of how you've created your brand has now lowered. It is loosened, right? At the end of the day, the way that I look at social media is, wouldn't it be nice that if you were putting out that content and you were receiving that ideal clientele, that you loved your life so much that you could actually be picky about the people you take? That's social media for me.
Okay, so with the social pillars, we thought, okay, what is something that we really know about social media? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of them want you to be social, okay? But before you can implement what we're gonna teach you and go through all these great things, touch points, you first have to do something else. So on your program, you'll find a little sticky. I want you to pull that out, little pink sticky. And if you have a pen, I want you to write down all the things that are stopping you from next leveling up, taking your social media to the next level. Maybe you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. What if people make fun of me? I don't know if I have the right cameras. I don't know what to talk about. What's stopping you? What's your list? What's stopping you from upping your social media game? Many times we hear, I just feel overwhelmed. I don't even know where to begin. Raise your hand. Overwhelmed, right? I don't even know where to begin. How long are the videos supposed to be? How often should I be posting? I don't know. The girl next to me in the salon does it, but I don't think I can do it like she does. I don't like to be in front of the camera. What are all those things? Okay? So who has more than 3 things on their list? Curious? Anybody? Okay, I love it. And this is going to be part of your homework assignment because I want you to continue to really dive deep and think about what's stopping me from my growth. Okay? So now what I want you to do is take your pink pieces of paper. Let me see them. Wiggle them around. Okay, you got to take them off. Okay? And then I want you to crumble them up. And I want you to throw them because we're leaving those out the door, right? We're going to put our fears aside. We're going to put aside being overwhelmed, and we're going to be open to the different ideas on how we could be strategic and organized. So during these next 8 pillars, be social, we're going to go through what are people looking for? Why is it important to be relevant? How can I be strategic in my content? How do I engage with people? What is it about the love and hate part of it that is important? Okay, am I influencer or an imposter? Who am I? Why am I doing this? I just signed up to do hair. Why do I need social media? And the first step is being relatable. Now, if you can take anything away from me today, I probably have 3 top things you should take away today. Relatable is hot right now. Okay, my husband and I, for example, all day when we're not together, we send each other like links or videos or tag each other in relatable content for husband and wife. Okay? Now think of a time, have you done that, where you've sent someone a link or tagged them in a video where you're like, ha ha ha, it's so funny, it reminds me of you, right? Now relatable content is going more viral than anything else right now, okay? So we're gonna go over a couple case studies featuring Olivia and what can be relatable, okay? So for the first one, I'm gonna play this one. Get out of the way. I crack up every time. Now, this is a quick, relatable piece of content. Does she have a model with her? Is she doing a client? No, because that's another big thing people say. Well, I don't know which customers to do it on. I don't have time in between my clients. You can create relatable content without having a client, okay? Now, how many of you have had a client cancel? Raise your hand. All of us, every hairdresser has had a client cancel, so this is relatable to all of us, right? Okay, so let's look at one more case study. This is from behind the chair.
Types of clients in a hair salon.
All right. Okay, so is that relatable, right? Especially like, oh, I could do it. Let me get my part in. As a hairdresser, we can relate to that, and that's hilarious. And that's why Behind the Chair featured this piece of content. So what happens when Behind the Chair features your work? You get more viewership. You get more, I got the chills right now. You get followers. And what happens when you get more followers? You grow. People want your services. I remember one time we have Joel Torres here in the building, and I remember one time he said, Cynthia, I have 80 people wanting a haircut in my DMs. I physically can't do them all. Who else would love to have those problems like Joel? I'll take it, let me lift my leg, right? To have 80 customers in 1 month want your services or your products. And this is another reason why we have to be on social media. So doing relatable content. I love journaling, I love taking notes. Grab a journal, grab a notebook, write down the different funny things, or maybe something happens at the salon, you're like, ha, 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 we should do a reel about it, right? Now, attach trending audio to that. Now you get some viralness, add your hashtags. It's a whole nother workshop class, but then you have some great stuff going on. So this is why you want to be relatable.
So in these videos right here, because I come from a videography background, I always look at video differently, and that's actually my goal for everyone in here, because you're gonna start to see things. You're gonna start to notice these things. You're gonna start to say, like, what do I wanna do? And the first three things is, different types of video content is to be entertaining, educating, or engaging. So what, like she said, Cynthia, this is the entertainment aspect of it, another relatable content. So this video did probably like one of the most amount of views that I've had in a very long time. And it's when the client comes into the salon when their hair is fried off. Like funny. Like this took me probably like 20 minutes. That's actually my eyes and my lips, just so you know. It took me no time to do it, but it's like, oh, now you want to listen. Now you want the silk pillowcase. Now you want the hair masks, okay? So that's the entertainment aspect of it, right? The relatability. Then there's the educational portion of it, okay? So this video has over 1 million views on it. And it was something that hairdressers know, but maybe a lot of consumers don't know, okay? So many of my clients had said, wow, I had no idea that I can't straighten and curl my hair within 2 or 3 days of each other, right? Or I'm trying to recurl my hair. They were mind blown. This is extremely shareable. This is extremely relatable, right? But I'm in an education portion for clients. But also, think about it, for even hairstylists to explain it better or to even share with their clients, right? And then this is engaging. So I want you guys to notice a few things that's going on right now in this video.
When would I use hair shape and when would I use body shape? What I would normally use the body shape for is my first to second day cells. I'm going to wait 30 days before I show you guys exactly how I use the hair shapes. And I kind of like straighten it out to put the product inside of my hair. So you can just see how my 3-day-old look has been revitalized.
Is there anything that you guys notice that's different about these two videos? My face, my voice. I'm talking to camera. People are obsessed with seeing faces speak. Think about it like this. Why are arguably makeup artists more successful and famous than hairstylists? Because it's on them. You guys need to start showing your face. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute.
Now, one of the things I do want to share, going back to Olivia's content, is someone once asked Kylie Jenner, what is it that you look for in social media? What is it that you really, really want? You know what she said? She said, what I look for is when I post in the comments, how many other people are tagging other people. Because she knows that if 2,000 people are tagging 2,000 people, that's an extra set of people that's driving her social media. When you create relatable, shareable content that is engaging and educating and entertaining, it's going to become shareable. And the more people share, the better that will be for you. Another little trick. I have like a lot of tricks I want to tell you guys. The other thing I wanted to share is one day, it was pre-pandemic, I was sitting in my hotel room preparing for a presentation, and I was thinking, what do all my clients have in common? So our clients range from beauty brands to celebrities, athletes, influencers. Used to be majority beauty. Now we have clothing companies and Jell-O pudding companies like Beyond Beauty. So I put them all out. I'm like, what are all their viral content have in common? And it was very interesting. I felt like the lightning came down or struck me, and I was like, yes, I got it. They all had not the same amount of likes, not the same amount of views. They all had the most bookmarks. So whenever you save a video or save a post and you want to go back and review it later, or you want to show someone else, that was the number one thing that all the viral videos had in common, was the bookmarks. So now you can understand, okay, what type of content I need to create, what direction I need to go into. But to help with that feeling of being overwhelmed and stressed out, you have to be strategic and you have to strategize, okay? So if you DM Olivia or myself and or both of us together, we're actually gonna send you templates to all of these different pieces for you. So this is a content calendar. And how many of you have done a content calendar before? Yay! How many of you are like, what is a content calendar? I don't even know what it is. Yeah, okay, awesome. So content calendar is a way to stay organized, okay? Now you can do it in a template way. If you have a calendar at home or at a local store, like Q calendar, however you want to do it, electronically, you can do it that way too. Just you need a blank calendar. And what you want to do is pre-plan, because once you pre-plan, then you're like, okay, got it. I know what type of content I want to create. I know when I'm going to post it, and I don't feel overwhelmed. So here, I want to show you the first top row are your themes. You don't have to do a theme. These are some examples. You can have your own themes. It's up to you. You can create whatever you want to create. But you can do Stylist Sunday, Motivation Monday, Transformation Tuesday. You can do Salon Saturday and show your color bar. There's all kinds of fun things you can do. And you can also then rotate them. So you can see here, and we're going to get into depth what this means when I say face, okay? So a face, something relatable, right? You're not technically doing hair or showing a before and after. A technique video, maybe a consumer tip. Have you gone live before? Raise your hand if you've gone live. Raise your hand if you go live, you think you're gonna blow up, like you're super scared. Right? Right? I'm like, is the lighting perfect? Is everything perfect? Live is the number one thing the algorithm will ask when as soon as content goes live, it'll say, or you post, it'll say, is this live content? And if it's live, you get pushed first. Not live, you're underneath the lives, okay? So just know. So this is a content calendar where then you can put in, maybe you know that Mary or Bob is coming in, you're like, ooh, they have some great hair coming in. I'm gonna do a lifestyle image, or I'm gonna do before and after, and you can align your content, okay? But many times people will say, well, how do I make my page look pretty? How do I make it look organized and cool? And so that's when we dive into grid patterns. So there's different types of grid patterns, and it really depends on your salon, the type of content you create. For example, maybe you have a salon that has very dark walls. Then you need to stick to maybe a dark and light pattern. Maybe you are a traveling stylist and it's not always consistent, but you want to stick to a face and a back of hair, face, back, front of hair, back of hair, and you can alternate it. But once you create a grid pattern, no matter what, it'll look cohesive, okay? Anybody here have grid patterns that you follow? Ooh, I like superstars in the front, I love it, okay? So the next thing after that, you want a storyboard, and these are all the strategic things you're gonna wanna do to prepare you, okay? So storyboards are very simple. Again, I can send you this template, or you can take a notebook and just write it out. Okay, how do I want to format my video and my content? And the first step, you always want to show the after first. Because usually, sometimes I'll see a video and it's the before first, and they show it for like 8 seconds and already over it, right? But if you see the after, 2 seconds, then go to the before, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, then it's fast. Always remember, the shorter, the better, okay? When you create content and how things go viral, it's based off of completion rate. So if you have a video that is 60 seconds long, what are the odds that 100% of the people are gonna watch the full thing? But if you have a video that's 3 seconds, or 4 seconds, or 7 seconds is a sweet spot, by the way, then you have a higher odds of more people completing that, and then the algorithm will favor your video and your content. Tie that in with trending audio, tie that in with hashtags. See, it's all these things you're gonna tie it into, not just one thing. So you wanna keep your audience engaged. Now, we're gonna show them the after. This is our hairstyling, right? Our before, and a couple little techniques that they can use and incorporate, and then finish with the after, okay? You guys like that?
Yes.
So make it simple. This is why it's simple, because when you grab your phone and you're like, okay, Cynthia said I just need the after, I just need to get a 2 second before, it doesn't feel overwhelming. I could do this, okay? Oh, and here's another tip. Don't show the full haircut. Don't show the full style. Maybe if you're doing a haircut, just show maybe you cutting the fringe only on your video. Next video, you can show the layers. Next video, you can show the finishing. You can batch it out and break it up. So you're not like having one video and need like 100 more, okay? Now looking at hair coloring, same thing. Show the after results so the audience know what they're gonna get. Maybe you mixing, right? Showing your foils, your mixing. Technique 1, technique 2, and then you wanna wrap up with your after, okay? Now, this is the fun part. Okay. Now with marketing and branding, it's really, really important to have your own voice and tone. I'll give you a good example. We started working with this company, and we work many times with a company's in-house social media person with us together, tag team. And when I was doing an audit of their account, I noticed in the DM somebody said, oh, what's your address? And the person responded with the address to answer the question. Right? Is that personable? Not so much, right? So you want to go back and use that tone and that voice to say, hi, Mary. Oh, thank you so much for wanting to connect with us. Can I help you make an appointment? Here's our address. And that's your opportunity to give them your vibe. Because if you're rude, you're going to want to go there. But if somebody's really nice, right? What does that make you feel? Like you want to go back to that restaurant. Right? You want to go back to that hotel. You want to go back and have that same experience all over again. So I want us to pause, and I want you to think about, what's your vibe? What is your tone? So what are 3 things on here that calls to you, right? What are 3 words? Who wants to share?
Edgy.
Edgy, okay.
Honest.
Honest, I love that. Anybody else? Relatable, I love that, be relatable, okay. One more. Humble? Awesome, because that's how you want people to feel, right? You want them to know that you're going to be honest with your whatever they have to say, your decisions, and that could be in pricing, recommendation, services. All those things are important. Now, what's your personality? We're all different. What's your personality here? Cheerful. You want to be happy, maybe positive, okay? But doesn't mean we all have to be. If that's not who you are, you don't have to be cheerful. You don't have to get out of your comfort zone, right? You can be serious. It can be anybody else? Hilarious. I love to laugh too. We are twins. I knew it. I love to laugh. I like to be silly sometimes, and I want my customers to feel comfortable, right? Sometimes on Zoom, I'm a little too silly, but it's really fun. So part of your homework assignment is to identify what's the voice and tone that I'm going to give my audience. Now, to take that a step further, when someone comments on your post and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, rah, are you going to say, thank you?
No.
How are you going to say that in a cheerful way? Thank you so much. For Olivia, with her voice and tone, it's, aw, thanks, babes, right?
Not me?
Yeah. Thanks, love. Like, we know her voice and tone. And that's how you speak, and that's also how you draft your captions. So if you say, here's my client before and after, follow me, right? What is your voice and tone when you write your captions? How are you engaging with your audience in the direct messages, in your comments, and just in your salon? What's that vibe? Okay, so that's why this is really important. And if you ever want to DM Olivia and I to be like, hey, I'm lost or I'm confused or I figured it out, this is what my voice and tone is, share that with us, okay? But this is my biggest problem is her biggest gift. So I'm going to pass it to Olivia.
So before I show you guys this video, okay, you can already get a notion of what it is. I was 20 years old. Okay, and I took this video. It's only a very small snippet because I'm not trying to embarrass myself too much. Okay, that's it. Like that's all you get. That's all you get. So this is my first YouTube ever. This was when I was 20 years old. I don't even sound the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell by my faces and like the things that I'm doing, I am just like so uncomfortable. I did not know who I was, right? And I said to myself, this is where the oh, get over yourself comes into play, okay? Maybe 2 years after this, I still tried really hard to make content, but I said to myself one day, I was so nervous about something I was about to film, and I was like, really, Olivia? Like, you don't have a voice? You can't speak? You can't talk? We know so much. We are so intelligent, right? That's why we are in the positions that we are in. You're gonna be so selfish with your insecurities to not share the information that you know? How dare you? How dare you not have those out-of-body experiences to just share the knowledge that you know because you can't get over yourself? I did a podcast one time with Hey Elizabeth Faye, and it was called Get Over Yourself and Go Viral. And it was all about this. So within this video, I'm actually so glad that I found this video maybe like a year ago, because it makes me see like how far our industry has come, number one, how far I've come, number two. But number three, it also shows people that like I wasn't just born on stage, right? Like, how do you get better at writing? You write. How do you get better at filming? You film. How do you get better at knowing who you are? I call it, to give you guys kind of like my practices of what I do when I film, I almost go into that like white noise space, okay? And I become an actor of myself. Because when you become an actor of yourself, that is where you know who your tone is, who your voice is, and you just say the information. Because the other side of that is the imposter syndrome, the anxiety, the, oh, one or two people are gonna see this and judge me, right? When we become an actor of ourselves, we just say the content, okay? Here you go, my love.
When I was at Bellamy, it was my, and at that time, 7 years ago, they had 1 million followers. And the CEO gave me access to social, and he said, okay, do your first post. I'm like, huh? So I'm like, okay, I got this. I think I spent 100 hours trying to figure out the caption. And I was all done. And I was like, yay. So I go over there and I hand him like, okay, this is what it is. What do you think? And he looked at it and he goes, this is horrible. And I'm like, I don't get it. And he said, you sound like an attorney, right? He's like, you have to be the voice of the audience. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I had to pull out that inner Valley girl or whatever that is to be able to identify what is a brand voice, right? And that's why that's really important in your communication. Part of what I like to say, so I always say like Olivia's the face. Like she's like in front, she's doing her content every day, and Olivia can walk into any kind of hair show and they're like, Olivia, ah. Me, people have no idea who I am. Because I call myself the behind the scenes beauty queen, because we're always working behind to do the strategy, the posting, the engaging, how to go viral, how to build everything out, the behind the scenes thing. And part of having that knowledge and working with so many brands is we identify why hairdressers do not get reposted. And many times people will come to me and go, gosh, I just tagged you guys and I didn't get reposted, and what's wrong with my work? And what they don't realize is that it has nothing to do with their work. What they don't even know, sometimes it's because when they're doing hands and hair in the back like this, they're wearing a hairband on the wrist. And certain brands will not feature your work if there's a hairband on a wrist. You can have the most beautiful color, beautiful finish work, beautiful background, and there's one thing that will keep you from being featured. So I really wanted to break down some key things, what you should look out for when you are capturing your content, okay? So the first one is facial expressions. Whatever brand you use and you represent and you love, go to their Instagram and identify, are they serious? Are they cheerful? What is their brand vibe? Is everybody smiling? Does everybody look serious? Because if they're a cheerful brand and your content looks like, what is it called? The resting itch face? You're probably not gonna get featured just because your model, your client is not smiling. So you're hindering yourself and you had no idea, right? Another key thing is mirrored. We never featured anything mirrored, okay? Collages. Don't do them. If you have them on your grid, archive them and get rid of them. Also, never delete a post. On Instagram, algorithm does not like deletion. Always archive it out of the way. Okay, and another little tip, watermarks. Some people are still, there's a few people out there that are adamant, I had to put my watermark because somebody might steal my content. Majority of the people have the etiquette of tagging the right people in the caption or on the video or picture. Some brands will not repost your work if there's a glaring watermark. Okay, so you don't want to do that. Make sure the hair looks healthy and looks shiny and looks beautiful. Rarely do you see someone get featured or posted when the hair is dry or damaged, okay? Filters. I'm always against filters for capturing hair color because what happens? The client comes in, like, can I get this color? And you're like, oh, well, that's filter B on top of 7R, right? So be careful. You can use some, but you don't really modify the hair color, okay? Non-brands. So if you really want to be featured on X brand, don't show multiple brands in the background of your content because there's a rule, they will not feature with other brands in the background. How many of you guys even knew all these little things so far, right? Isn't this amazing?
Yes.
To go, wow, it's not just my work, it's my background, okay? Distractions, oh yes.
What about tagging different brands?
Oh, that's a great question. So the question is, what if I tag various brands? Now I will say, with hair color, don't. Because it's highly unlikely that you'll be refeatured if you're tagging multiple, because we have to show the formula. You know, if it's just the lightener, maybe the lightener was one brand and the color formula was different, that might be okay if it's beautiful work. So focus on tagging one brand at a time when it comes to that. Hair care is a little bit more lenient, but color, you usually have to show a formula. Great question. But any distractions? So if there is a Coca-Cola t-shirt, brands can't show that. Legal reasons, right? Maybe it's AC/DC and they look cool, it's rocking out. Probably can't get reposted. All these things make a big difference. And then I love this one because as a hairdresser, you just want to cut the ends, right? I'm just like, can I just cut them? Split ends, so does the hair look healthy? And last but not least, bra straps. Not going to be reposted. Don't show bra straps. Or in the back of the stations, if they look messy and dirty, right? You want to keep your area clean when you're capturing content. So if you want to take a picture of this, please go ahead as a little cheat sheet of like, what did she say that I can and can't do? It's really important to know all these little tips. And just to let you guys know, we are going to do a Q&A at the end. So if there are questions too that we missed that you're dying to find out, let me know. Okay? All right. Now, this one, going back to our case studies. Now, when I look at this poor stylist, what's wrong with this picture? Everything. The lighting's horrible, right? Angles are bad. What do we see? We just talked about bra straps are here, right? The lighting is horrible. The hair color looks orange. There's a baby, there's a butt. There's all kinds of things. Like, I feel so bad for this hairstylist. And too bad the stylist is in the room because that's Olivia. That was Olivia's work before she transformed. But before we go into how Olivia transformed, can you guys tell what pattern we used for Olivia? What's her?
Yeah.
Okay, what else? What's our grid pattern? Checkerboard. Face, no face. Face, no face. Face, no face. See the checker? It doesn't have to be blaring. It just blends beautifully. And also, she'll go into maybe some color schemes, so she gives you a little bit of that as well. But you can see that she sticks within her color palette. All the backgrounds are light. If there was one dark black background and a yellow background, would that throw this whole thing off? 100%. So Olivia, I invite you up to share, how did you transform?
Well, it first starts off with my influencer or imposter syndrome. And what I've noticed a lot of people do online is when they're trying to identify who they are, they go to other people's pages, right? They gain inspiration from there. Do you know what ends up happening? You become a second-rate version of them and not a first-rate version of yourself. So I look outside of my industries all the time. I mentioned to you guys that I follow the makeup world, but I also was actually, my husband used to work for a pool company, and we were at a convention center. This guy was telling us that colors make all the difference that correlate to your tone, to your vibe, who you are. So I said to myself, I was like, well, I want to be a first-rate version of me. How do I do that? So I challenge you guys to go to Pinterest as homework. Anything that fits your vibe, textures, tones, colors, water, plants, iridescence. This was me. This is what I saw in my brain. This is what I saw in my head. This is what I surrounded myself with, my clothing, the notebooks that I would buy, everything. If you look back at this, is that not that? Like to a T, because it's not what you're putting in the pictures, it's what you're actually removing from the photos, right? So I film in the same exact spot every single time for these types of videos. Even at my salon, I'm this picky. Even the salon that I moved to is still my aesthetic and still my vibe, because I'm not gonna hinder myself from creating content. So the salon that I work at, the lighting's amazing, it's very airy, and it has very neutral tones, okay? So you can kind of see a little bit of the iridescence in the background. We have like a little bit of, like the pampas grass and a little bit of the trees, right? I'm incorporating that all into my brand, and this is a fake background, yes?
So I have a question for you. So when you talk about like yourself, right? So what is the difference when you're like being yourself, and then when you're trying to talk to your audience who isn't necessarily you? Who are you? Like, who are you attract? Like,
I live in a prosumer world. Okay. So what that means is a prosumer is someone who is the pro, who can speak to the pro, and who can also speak to the consumer. That is my goal. I do educational videos for the pros, and I also create hair hacks for consumers, right? I am attracting clients, right? But I'm also attracting industry. I'm living in a space that doesn't exist. At the end of the day, because I have figured out my grid, because I have figured out my colors, because I have figured out my tone, my voice, I'm setting a foundation on my house. Everything else, the content is just window dressing. You feel me, right? And then you have to say to yourself, well, who do I want to talk to? And then that's when your calendar, your content calendar comes into play. You know what, today I'm gonna talk to the consumers. Today I'm gonna talk to the pros. Today I'm gonna talk to the brands, right? You're in a building block, but it's all based upon your goals. What's your brand? Okay, so yeah, we're gonna jump right into this. Here you go.
When my son, who is now 19, when he was younger, he played basketball. And when he would play basketball, he would do this, and he wouldn't have the ball, but he would like do this. And I'm like, what is Gavin doing? So afterwards, I'm like, son, what are you doing? He goes, Mom, I'm so excited. I want them to pass me the ball, and I just can't wait. That's how I feel when Olivia's up here, because I'm like, my turn, me, I wanna go next. I get so excited. So much to share with you guys. In identifying all these great things, at the end of the day, we talk about what's your purpose, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? Because there will be days that you don't wanna do it, that you're tired, you don't wanna get your hair and makeup done, you don't feel like recording, you didn't like the last video, it's dumb, you didn't get that many views, you're gonna think of 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't make that content. And what you have to ask yourself is, what's my social purpose? Why am I doing this? What is it? And so is it because I want my existing clients to see my products and services? I wanna be in front of my client because trust me, they're on social. Social media is the modern day lookbook, right? How many of you get your nails done and go to a nail salon and you're like, oh, I want this, and you show your phone? That's what I do. I find a design, I'm like, I want this. Same thing with hair. How many times has a client sat in your chair and say, can I have this look? Right? All the time. It's the new modern day lookbook. So now you say, okay, I'm doing it for my existing clients, so I stay at the forefront of them, and my competitor doesn't get in front of them, but I'm in front of them. How many of you want new clients? Want more business? Well, exactly, Jessica's like, me, I do. So I want to attract new business, and that's where your hashtags come in, by the way. Because when you post for existing clients and you don't add hashtags, you're only gonna be seen by 1% in the first few seconds, unless more people engage, interact. But if you want to broaden your audience, you have to use those hashtags because it's gonna place you in front of that audience. You wanna share your services, maybe you just started doing extensions. Maybe you just launched the new Sportnet brushes from Marlo Beauty, and now you want to show everyone how to use them correctly so they can fly off your shelves. Or maybe you want to be an educator, or you are an educator, and you go, you know what? I want to be like Olivia. I want to be a prosumer. I want people in my chair, and I want to be the expert in my industry so I can teach hair color, finish work, hair cutting, whatever that is. So anybody want to share what their purpose is? What's your social purpose? And it doesn't have to be anything from here. Anybody have their social purpose they want to share that calls to them? Yes, Lindsay.
Our community is education focused.
Okay.
Education forward.
I love that. So education is Lindsay's focus. Yes.
Mine is education, and mine is creating more safe and inclusive spaces.
Perfect. So already knowing exactly where you want to take it. Now, this is one of my favorite slides ever. Many times what I see with hairdressers is that they're creating content for other hairdressers. And is that hairdresser sitting in their chair paying for their products and services? No. You have to create consumer-friendly content if you want to attract more people in your chair, okay? So again, as a hairdresser, you're thinking like, wow, everybody knows how to do a blowout, like that's boring. But does your consumer know? Think of the people who sit in your chair and go, gosh, I just wish every day you can do my hair. Every day I can come here. You can live with me. Just move in with me, right? Think about that person who doesn't know how to do a side pony, who does not know how to blow dry a fringe. That's who you're going to make content for. Currently, one of our clients is taking us through this amazing training, and it's called They Ask You Answer. And part of this training is whatever people are asking of you as a brand, because you're a brand, answer that back in content. So what's a question that you commonly get asked? Yes.
How do I do your waves?
Okay, how do I do my waves? So what I would do is make a video based on how to create my signature waves. Now, by using just the word signature, they know it's special from you. It's not just any generic waves, right? So you can think about that. Another homework assignment, 59, I don't know what number we're on. Write down, what are those questions commonly asked? You know, how do I blow dry my hair? What kind of, you know, how come my hair is dry? How come my hair is falling out? Whatever that is, and create content around that as well. Who's your audience? So let's take a little deep dive into what a pro piece of content looks like from Olivia, and then what a consumer one is. So here we go. Here's a pro. Love the end, da, 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 read the caption, right? And so with that pro content, I mean, I didn't know the pinky trick, right, until I saw Olivia do it.
Pinky pointer.
Pinky pointer, okay. So now she's educating who? A fellow hairstylist, right? And now she's gonna get more hairstylists to follow her because she's giving tips. But again, are those people sitting in Olivia's chair? So let's look at what a consumer piece of content looks like.
Hair hacks with extensions in ponytail. 1. Do half up style. 2. Gather bottom with elastic. 3. Combine both ponytails with one more elastic. So simple.
Now, some of you might go, well, Olivia's super cute. I don't know if I feel like extra cute like her. I'll tell you this, it was interesting. I was doing it social media, Instagramming, right? And I saw a girl with my body type use those little elastic band leg thingies, right? And I'm like, ooh, what's that? Let me stop. Scrolled back up, I saw it. She wasn't an influencer. She had probably had 1,500 followers. And I bought the bands because I related to her. So all of us have other people that we relate to or aspire to be, right? It doesn't have to be just one or the other. And at the end of the day, you have to love what you do or you're gonna hate it.
So this is actually like my favorite section of the entire, I mean, all the information is amazing, but we've shown you how to build, we've shown you how to grow, and now I'm gonna show you how to manage. What is the number one thing people say to me? How do you find the time, right? So what I want you guys to think about, just close your eyes real quick, everyone. Okay. Think about how many jobs you have. Whether you're a homemaker, whether you're in a relationship, right? A stylist, content creator, right? Open up your eyes. Now, of all those things, there are things that we love and there are things that we hate about that, right? We will give you these templates. You can direct message us for them. Once I wrote down everything that I love and everything that I hated doing, I started to figure out a way to delegate out everything that I hated out of my life. I am not kidding you. I am so damn specific about the things that I hate in my life and figuring out a way to make it work for me that I don't have to do those things anymore. I say every morning when I wake up, I love my life, I love my life, I love my life, every single morning. And it's because I made this list and I saw it on paper. Think about it like this too. Your love section is almost like a gratitude rampage too, to show everything that you are in love with. And I would highly recommend you looking at that on an often basis. But what ends up happening is, through your hate, you also have to figure out what takes up the most amount of bandwidth. What does your bandwidth look like every single day? Before we get into that part, everyone has their daily routines, right? And I think daily routines are so important, but if you are not implementing creating content into your weekly routine, you're not gonna make content. Content doesn't just come out of nowhere. You have to make the time to make the content. You feel me? And Cynthia, you made a really good point. You were saying, just show the bangs, just show the layers. My new strategy for creating content is long form video. So if it's one person that I'm doing a haircut on, it's the bangs, it's the layers, it's the shampoo and conditioner that I'm using, and then it's styling products, and then maybe it's a curl, and then it's like maybe just a lifestyle video. That is now how I am making content easier, faster, right? Because if we only do, now don't get me wrong, sure, like trending videos, trending audio, funny, relatable content, that's very important. But like if you have a goal set that you want to be a master hair cutter, that's the way to do it, how to create content and how to do it more seamlessly, okay? So for anyone who's looking to grow, this is my efforts and priorities list, okay? 9 actions per week. To see a sizable difference on social media, 9 actions per week. So what I've noticed people do is they go, oh my God, I'm putting in so much effort into social media, but I'm getting nothing out of it. It's because you're living in low priorities. If you want high return on your investment, you have to do the high efforts, which is creating content, okay? So you're gonna do 3 of these per week. So 3 high, 3 medium, 3 low. High would be either 3 photos, a mix of 3 photos and 3 reels, and then actually posting at least 3 times a week, okay, or on your stories. And then 3 times a week, you should be engaging in those photos, right? Or engaging in hashtags. This is my formula that I have taught to hundreds of thousands of hairstylists where they have seen a return on their investment for their time online. Because you know what? If you're on your phone and you're aimlessly scrolling, have that self-awareness to stop. We wonder why we're exhausted all the time. It's because we're consuming, always, okay? So then this is you could take a picture of this. So this is just conceptually an idea that I've come up with for Monday through Saturdays in the salon. And it breaks down to your grid, stories, reels, takes photos, and engage. So we can actually send you a blank one of these for you to be more organized. And then how do we incorporate it? This changed my life. I am my own boss. I run my own life, right? If I have 3 hours to clean my house, it's gonna take 3 hours to clean my house. If I have 30 minutes to clean my house, it'll take me 30 minutes to clean my house. So what I did is I created a schedule for myself every single week, okay? You could see I wake up at 7 a.m., wake up and makeup. I get ready every single day. Maybe not a lot of makeup, but just something, right? I do my skincare routine. I work out and I walk. Not only am I doing physical fitness, I'm doing mental fitness. When I walk, that's when I listen to my books. That's when I meditate. When I started meditating and working out and taking care of myself, it changed my life. It sets the tone for my day, right? But I know I gotta be home by 10 o'clock. Now keep in mind, guys, this is my schedule. This is my ideal life. I took out everything that I hated, I worked my ass off, and I made it so that this is my ideal life, okay? I need to be home by 10 o'clock, and then that's where it comes into filming reels, posting engaging, filming 2 reels, posting stories, right? My salon days, and then on Mondays and Fridays I have meetings, okay? I actually was doing a consulting call because I do one-on-one consulting and I help out hairstylists personally for what they need. I usually do that on Mondays. Do you see here it says walk to the beach? That's my reward. That's my reward for being so disciplined all week long. That's my favorite thing to do. But a lot of people say, well, my outlet is painting or it's designing houses or whatever. I go, well, how often are you doing that? 3 or 4 times a week. But I'm a perfectionist, right? Perfectionism is procrastination. Did your minds just blow?
Yes.
My procrastination is cleaning my house. So you know what I do? On my Wednesdays when I get home from work, because I know I film, I make sure my house is clean. Does that make sense? I'm so self-aware of the things that I do now because I know in that moment, I know as soon as I go to film, I'm gonna start organizing my makeup, cleaning, right? Same thing with the salon. You guys sit in the back room and we kind of talk or whatever, just say to yourself, you know what? I could be doing something that's gonna contribute to my career, something that can be contributing towards the rest of my life. Because we have to choose our hard. At the end of the day, is this stuff hard? Yeah, it can be hard. But you know what else is not hard? You know what else is hard is not being able to say that I can take my family on vacation, right? Because I don't have that many clients. Or hard is, not even feeling like you're worthy enough to be on here. It's all hard. Getting yourself on social media and showing your face, that's hard too. But it's how do we choose it? So at the end of the day, when you're looking at all your jobs, when you're looking at your love and hate, I say that pumpkins grow on a vine, right? So your jobs, think about them like pumpkins, right? It is getting all the same source of nutrition. Sometimes we have bigger pumpkins, sometimes we have smaller pumpkins, right? Hairstyling, our career, that's a big pumpkin. If you want to bring on something else into your life, know that your other pumpkins will suffer, okay? So if social media is going to be a part of your life, that is a new pumpkin. But you have to look at all your jobs and figure out where you can delegate and where you can eliminate. Because a lot of times through our perfectionism, through our control, we don't delegate enough. So if you're bringing this on because you're looking at your penny stocks and you're saying, this is what I'm going to contribute to the rest of my life, so I always have a career, maybe I don't want to always use my hands for the rest of my life, but maybe this digitally. Social media took me from a small town in Cooper City that is literally 2 miles long to globally. It is a global app. Do you guys agree? Yes. Amazing. Come on, Cindy.
I love all of that. I was in my mind saying amen because I know we're filming. I was like, amen, amen. Content creation is something that's new for us. It's not something that we knew we were going to do when we went through school, right? Generally. But it is a necessity. The beautiful thing about it is that it's free. And what I tell people that, usually we talked about ROI, right? Return on your investment. Think of this as ROT, return on your time. The more time you give it, the more you're gonna get. If you're not posting frequently or you're not going live, or you're not pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, you're gonna stay stagnant. The more activity you do in social, the greater the reward will happen. We see it every day. And every day we're getting better. And every 3 months, we can ask Joelle, the algorithm changes and we have to refine and we have to adjust and we have to get better and figure out the next tricks. I think of it like a video game sometimes. I don't play video games, but I see people do it. And you're always looking for the hidden door. Sometimes the door's gone and you got to find another door. And that's why it's important to be in the game. And when I was a young hairdresser, it was about staying in the salon so you can get the walk-in. And then now, as my mom would tell you, the walk-ins don't come in anymore. but the girl next to me who has a social media presence is booked for the next 3 months. So which stylist do you want to be? Okay, and with that, I want to go into your notes. So if you have a notebook, great. Thinking about those 8 pillars, homework assignment, maybe your final. I want you to write down what are the key takeaways that you learned in this segment that you want to implement. Doesn't have to be all of them. What are some of the key things that Olivia or I stated that you go, you know what, aha moment, got it, gonna do that. And what is something that you want to strive to do? Maybe you're not ready today, but you want to get yourself prepared for that path. And I want you to write everything down for Be Social, and I want you to go out there and be social. And we're going to be watching you, and we're going to be rooting for you, and we're going to be here for you. So if you have that question to go, oh no, what is collaborate? I don't know that new feature. Should I do it? DM us.
Again, you guys can follow us at OMG Artistry.
And at Saga, Haus.
And thank you, Marlo, so much for having us.
Thank you, Marlo.
Love you.
Okay, that was so great. We have a lot of good questions, so I'm excited to get into this. So Cynthia, Olivia, if you guys want to come up, I see you there. Olivia, hello. Hi. And thank you guys again for asking so many great questions in the chat, and to Cynthia and Olivia for all your great responses. I want to get into this first question that I feel like we have a lot of similar versions of this question. So this is from Josie. She has an account with minimal old posts, and she wants to know how she goes about having a current presence. This is a similar question asked in the chat. So I'd like to take a moment to have you guys answer this one.
Cynthia, want to go ahead?
Say the first thing, if someone came to us and said, I want to revamp my social media, what do I do? What I'll do is look at their current grid posts, and whatever doesn't align with their brand and their brand identity, we archive it and we take it out. Okay. And then we keep some things, right? So it's not just completely empty. And as you start to post your new content, then you can slowly, like Olivia said earlier, take out some of the old content. So there's like a gradual transformation. Olivia?
I agree with that. So listen, we all go through it where we're sometimes on social and we're sometimes not on social. Okay. It's okay to take a break. You don't have to feel like you have to be out there all the time. So what I do is, in order for me to like kind of get back into that jump rope, I plan ahead. So we were talking about like the time blocking, like on Mondays is our day off. Start making that list of content that you just want to start creating. Okay. So I don't actually make lists and film on the same day, because to be creative, it takes a really long time, right? It's almost like turning that car back on. And when you're not in it in that moment, it takes a little longer to turn the car back on. So give yourself grace. Okay. So what I like to do is I'll plan ahead on Mondays with my list, my ideas, and my details. And when I do that, that's when I go through like a more detail oriented of my page of what A does the best for my audience, and B, there's a lot of times I'll go through my page and I'll look at kind of like the history of my content. And I say to myself, when was I the most inspired and motivated to make this type of content? So like, for instance, I loved when I was doing like my hair myths, like the hair myths was so fun for me. And I was like, you know what? I need to do like a part 4, a part 5, a part 6. So go back and figure out like what made you the most excited, because the content that's going to make you the most excited is the one you're actually going to do. And then maybe plan to film it the next Monday. So that would be like my best advice. And then from there, create a planning strategy, whatever fits best for your schedule.
I love that. And Josie had one follow-up question to that. She said she does take pictures of her work, but she never posts for various reasons. She's unsure how to use captions, hashtags. Her photos appear flat. What steps should she take in this area once she establishes a new presence on social media?
Go ahead, Sam.
It's such a big question. There's so many touch points that are really important. So I think I'll kind of back up a second and say, just piggyback off Olivia, like you have to have that first step of planning. what am I going to speak about? And the next step would be, when am I and what am I going to create? So for example, Olivia is really great at having a day where she makes batch content, where she'll take her list and she'll make a bunch of videos and awesome stuff. She might have some wardrobe changes, etc. And so you have like the content creation bucket. And then from there, you also then have what the caption is going to say and how you can dive deeper into your audience. So I would think they come in steps, as content being king and queen as the first thing. And then it's easy to speak to what you just created. And then once you write your caption, then you can say, okay, what are the hashtags that I'm going to use? And one of the things we like to share is like the 6 different categories of hashtags. So that way you can maximize local community stuff, but also global hashtags, and etc. So I would say look at everything in steps and phases, and not, otherwise you'll feel really overwhelmed starting with content. So I hope that answers your question.
And I think too, like, you guys need to look at your Instagram page if you were a client. Like, if you just moved somewhere, what would you want to read in the caption, right? Just tell the story. Okay, Susie hardly gets her hair done. She only wants to come in every 4 months. So what we decided to do was give her a low maintenance look that made sense for her reality of being a mom and working 70 hours a week. Is this something that you would like to do? Is this something you relate to? So you tell the story, you give the education, and then the call to action is to get someone to talk to you. At the end of the day, like, we get so overwhelmed. It's called analysis paralysis is what it is. We overthink it so much that we just don't do anything at all. So don't overthink it, just do it. And again, if you're not posting, it's because you want it perfect, but perfectionism is actually just procrastination. Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And people, hey, number one, people don't even want to see perfect on social media. Okay, so just do it. Just
non-perfect performs better, right?
So,
yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, Olivia, about looking at your grid, because what I tell stylists sometimes is, what happens when you're done with the haircut, right? When you're all done with the haircut, you take a step back, you grab the hair and you balance it. And you want to make sure, like, oh, do I need to cut a little bit more here? Is everything even? You start to review your work. Same thing with your Instagram and your social platforms. You need to take a step back and review, does this align? Oh no, red flag, I need to archive X out of my grid. And there's a lot of questions in the chat also, Katie, so I don't know if—
A lot of questions coming through. Yep. So this one is from Paige. As a new stylist building my clientele, how do I build a social media presence when I don't have a lot of clients?
I'll go first. I'll just go first and then I'll pass it to you, Olivia. Okay, so one of the things that this is a big challenge for many stylists is, I don't have the right clients, or maybe they don't have the right hair texture for content, or I don't have enough clients. And what I want to share with you, and this is from Paige, correct? Mm-hmm. Paige, we are the beauty experts. We are, if you're in hair, if you're an esthetician, if you're a nail tech, people look to us to give them advice. So what I would do is turn the camera on yourself and give advice on whatever that is, if that's, again, being an esthetician, a nail tech, or a stylist. And you can also do, I love green screens. Olivia's done some of those as well. We just had the Oscars yesterday. Maybe it's a green screen of the Oscars and the background is Lady Gaga, and you're talking about how you love her hair and how to recreate it. So think of ideas and concepts that have nothing to do with clients as you start to build your clientele.
and on the heels of that, just getting started, like, in the social space, like, sometimes I call, like, social media like multi-level marketing. Like, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. Well, things have changed with social media. You're still sometimes putting in a lot and not feeling like you're receiving everything. So do not have a deterrent. Really, at the end of the day, look at your social media as your bragging, okay? Your bragging rights. That's where you're going to post your portfolio. You still have to be in person and talk to people, whether that's going to restaurants, bars, high schools, volunteering, like you still have to put yourself out there. Social media is just one part of the bench, right? It's just one pillar. Talking, getting yourself out there, inviting people to sit in your chair. Even I have people that will come in for like a, I call it a follow your journey call. I don't call it a model call. Follow your journey call, which is somebody that, like, for instance, if red hair is the new hottest color, come in and let's do like a red hair journey. The reason why I don't call them models is because it means it's free, which that's like a whole other class in itself. But you need to start bringing in people, taking the day to make that content and batch contenting your product, your hairstyles, your color, your cut, whatever you want to sit in your chair is what you have to create. Would you agree, Sin?
100%, yes.
And this is a short question from Elizabeth. Are you supposed to use the same hashtags with every post or new ones?
I switch it up. Whatever my goals are for that month, or even like areas. But yeah, I switch it up. I try not to overdo it with hashtags. In my personal opinion, I feel like Instagram doesn't like it when you do so many hashtags. So I go with ones that are specific to, let's just say, I always do Olivia Smalley as my hashtag, or Thompson now rather. I guess I got to switch that because I switched my last name. So Olivia Thompson, hashtag OMG Artistry, hashtag blonde extensionist. And then I do my area. And then I will do outlets. So like behind the chair, whoever I want to talk to, Marlo Beauty, different things like that. So I try to do anywhere from like 10 to 15, but yes, I do switch it up all the time.
Great. And I did see a few questions come through during the class on this. Are there any apps or tools that you use for your social content that we should know about? External tools and apps.
I can go first. So we use Unum. I know Olivia mentioned that she got us hooked on Unum, and we use Unum for planning and putting your grid layout. We do not use it to post. So like Instagram, Facebook, they don't like tools that do auto posting. They want it to be organic. So that would make our whole lives easier if we could just auto post everything. So we do recommend organic posting. I also use Splice for a lot of editing. We use Canva sometimes if we want to make certain kind of text graphics. I'm trying to think of what else we use. I would say those are the main ones.
I have been loving CapCut. I was an iMovie girl forever because I got started on iMovie when I was doing videography, but CapCut has the coolest transitions. They have like the coolest like intros. So it kind of makes it this more aesthetically viewing video than just like a regular transitional video. So try it out. It's called CapCut. I'll type it in the group, in the chat.
Awesome. And Cynthia, I know you commented on this one before when it came through. How often you should post?
Okay, so it used to be, especially before the pandemic, that the more you post on your grid, the better. And so I would say the minimum would be like once a day. But for some people, that's a lot. They don't have enough content to do that. So they might need to do 3 times. I'd rather you do 3 times a week and have the best content for you, but then live on stories. The other thing when you look at the people who are best in class, like look at how often they post. So when we look at best in class, they're posting 60 times a month. Now, again, that doesn't have to be today, but that could be goals, right? So if you're averaging like 3 times a month, and if you upgrade that to 3 times a week, then you're on fire. Like that's awesome. So try to post as often as you can create your content. That'll help you.
Love it. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. So let's see, we're going to choose, let's say you have a post that's kind of taking off. How do you take advantage of this? How do you capitalize on this success?
Oh, pick me. Okay. So a few things. If you notice that there's a video that's blowing up, do not post again after that. So what we recommend, or what we like to do, is like Olivia had a video that had 1 million+ plays, and we're like, don't post, leave it alone. Like, let's just let it ride. and you want it to capture the most. So one, I would say let it ride. The second thing is take that post and share it to stories to continue its growth. Another trick I like to do is if you go to the post and you go to the 3 dots on the right hand side, you copy the link to that post and text it to all your friends and people who love and support you. I'm like, hey, this is going viral, check it out. And then what's going to happen is they're at least going to click on the link. And that's going to help it take it to another level. And make sure you answer all the comments on that viral post and try to have a 2-way conversation with as many people as possible, and just like put all your energy into that post. Olivia?
And exactly what you said. And one more thing that I do is I copy that link and I'll put it actually like on my Facebook page, and I'll post it, because I still have a lot of friends still there on Facebook. And that also gives it this like extra algorithm boost. Sorry, I have Invisalign in, so I'm a little lispy. An extra algorithm boost, and it'll help it lift even more.
Okay, amazing. So we loved all the questions. If there was a question that we didn't get to, I think we got to almost all of them, but you can always send Olivia, Cynthia, Marlo Beauty Supply a DM. We will get back to you. And a reminder that you will be getting a follow-up email with a link to rewatch this class. You can rewatch it however many times you want. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you so much to Olivia and Cynthia for joining. Thank you again for everyone who tuned in, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.